welcome back to my channel. My name is Sabrina, and this week's video I'm going to be reading the Lord of the Rings series, The Hobbit included. So here's the thing, I grew up in a very evangelical home, not evangelical anymore, but I grew up in that environment. So when it comes down to movies that had witches, wizards, any type of mythological creatures in it, it was very limited, and one of those movies that I was able to enjoy was Lord of the Rings. So I've been watching Lord of the Rings for as long as I can remember. I was going to see The Hobbit when it was coming out in theaters. I did also read The Hobbit about 11 years ago when the third movie was about to come out. But the thing is, I never read the books except for The Hobbit. So the time has come for me to do it, and I'm very excited to do it because I feel like The Lord of the Rings has done a lot for the fantasy reader community, especially with incorporating Celtic, Nordic, and many other mythologies into the storyline, but with a modern twist and including the hero's journey in it as well. And we're able to see how after this book has come out, how it has changed the trajectory of how fantasy books are written. Tolkien was a very devout Catholic, so I know that there are a lot of those types of incorporations into his story, and I think another great thing about Lord of the Rings is how the idea is there, but it's not so in your face that if you're not a Christian or you feel uncomfortable being forced to consume those types of Christian values, you're still able to enjoy the story without it feeling like it's so in your face, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, put some ambiance music on, make a smoothie. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in The Hobbit. I finished reading The Hobbit just now. It's a really good thing I reread it, honestly. So basically, The Hobbit is kind of like more of a children's book, and it came out first. It came out in 1937, I think, and then it wasn't until the 50s when Lord of the Rings came out. So like in that time frame, he started working on the Lord of the Rings series. Even though it was originally written for like children, it doesn't mean that adults can't enjoy it as well, and I don't know what to rate it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I did the first time I read it, which is totally fine. It's okay. I'm not who I was 11 years ago, but I still loved it nonetheless. So I think I'm probably gonna rate it around somewhere between the 4 and the 5 star. It's very different from the movies. There are like 3 movies, and this one is just a singular book. And then for Lord of the Rings, it's like a movie for each book that came out. And it's like the movies, there were fillers, there were characters that did not even exist in the book, but was created for the movie. So yeah, it was just a bit quick paced. And I've kind of recently discovered that I prefer my books to be a little bit more in the medium pace. As long as things are still going on in the slow pace, I'm cool with that, if that even makes sense. I still enjoyed it. I think it was good. I think it was fun. There was a cartoon version of The Hobbit that's out, and it is just like the one movie, so it's possible that it's going to be a lot closer to how the book was originally. But anyways, so I'm going to not pick up the Fellowship of the Ring tonight. I'm going to start it tomorrow. So I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the night, and I'll be back tomorrow to continue on our Lord of the Rings journey. Hello, it is now the next day, and I started reading the Fellowship of the Ring. Well, audiobooking it. I'm only on chapter 2, so I'm only like a little bit into chapter 2 right now, and
A storm is coming.
I haven't started to, what's it called? Annotate it like I plan on annotating this. But for now, I'm going to, continue audiobooking it because I need to fix my nails. I painted my nails silver, but yesterday because I had to wash my hair and it's kind of pink-ish, pink red. I don't know, magenta? No, not magenta. I don't know. But basically, it bleeds red like crazy, so it stained my nails and it was no longer silver and I was hating how it looked, so I'm repainting them today. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and continue listening to the audiobook. I want to go to a coffee shop and maybe get a chai. So yeah, I'm going to go do that and I will update you when I have an update. I just hit the 25% mark, so let's do a little reading update. I didn't do any reading last night. I got hit with a pretty bad migraine. So this morning when I woke up, pretty low spoon, between low and medium spoon energy type of day. So just been taking it easy. Also, I apologize if you can hear my washer and dryer going on in the background. Laundry needed to get done, so hopefully the sounds aren't too horrendous at the moment. But as for my thoughts on this so far, I'm enjoying it, and I'm also enjoying it more than The Hobbit. Very different compared to the movie, that's for sure. When Frodo gets the ring from Bilbo, he very quickly leaves the Shire and starts off on his journey. In the book, though, it takes him a few weeks to actually leave the Shire. He's having to build this lie of like, oh, I'm moving somewhere else, and Sam had gone with him and Merry and Pippin are helping him, so that's why they're gone at the moment. Also in the movie, first time we see the elves, they are lamenting, they're going through the woods to go back home, being devastated, having to leave Middle Earth. In the book, though, they still run into elves, but the elves are not leaving Middle Earth. In fact, they are the group that decided to stay behind. So they meet Gildor, who did not even exist in the movies. He's explaining we're the elves that decided to stay behind. So we call ourselves the exiles. So that was pretty interesting to be introduced to a new character in here. So it's kind of fun to see the difference of the movies compared to the books, and this is a lot slower paced. It's not as life and death scenario that it feels in the movies. I feel like, the hobbits are they like their comfort, they like to be a little bit more secluded and just be with their community. Also, Sam, Merry, and Pippin all knew about the ring, like basically the entire time that Bilbo had it. It's like when Frodo is trying to be all sneaky and stuff, they're like, you're not really good at being sneaky. We're going to go on this adventure with you. We want to help you. Like, we care about you. So it's cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun reading it. So I'm going to go back into reading, and I will talk again whenever there's another update to share. I've made it to the 50% mark now. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but this has to be the slowest paced book I've ever read in my entire life. It's written like it's a cozy fantasy. It's like all this stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not a part of, that it's kind of like this dark looming feeling is coming over and taking over stuff. But then at the same time, it's chill. Not a big deal. I've been watching these movies for like over 20 years at this point. It's just odd to see how different it is from the books. I feel like the side characters that we're meeting is kind of showing a message of the importance of showing kindness to people that you don't know, because you don't know what kind of journey they're on. I think it's important to show those parts in fantasy books or in any book in general, because that's how real life goes. I appreciate a lot in this book that we didn't really get to see in the movie. We'll see what happens. I did purchase the second book yesterday, Two Towers, and they didn't have the third book in the copy that I want, so I didn't buy that. I will just read the third book on my Kindle, and then whenever I have a chance to get the third book, then I'll get the third book kind of situation. I think I'm gonna stop reading this for tonight and pick up something else, because, again, not gonna lie, I'm not saying that I hate this book or anything like that. I can totally get with slow-paced books. I just need to read something else on the side with them so that I don't go into a reading slump. I really don't want to enter another reading slump, and I just got out of one. I know there's a pile of lore, background, back history, things like that Tolkien had written and created, and I think that's super cool and really amazing. I think the thing that just sucks is we don't get a lot in that story in the books. There's another one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's not even really part of this series. I think it's pretty cool to be able to create such a deep and intricate world. The only thing that I'm just kind of like, man, this is annoying, is that you only get like a shallow taste of the deep intricate world that he created in the books. Like, if you want more, you gotta go into another book or just do a full deep dive on Google and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love deep intricate stories. I love reading book series and seeing how they connect to each other, and I'm all for that, for sure. I'm all for that. I just wish that we got a little bit more of it. I feel like it'd be easier to build an emotional connection with these characters if we understood their history a little bit more, or just understood the world a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like it's important for people who don't want to get into those books to still have a chance to understand it at a deeper level, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's all I have to comment on for today. But yeah, I will update you tomorrow. Hello, it has been a couple of days since we last spoke with each other. Yesterday, I was cleaning and listening to an audiobook version of The Fellowship of the Ring, and then doing a little bit more reading right before I had to leave. So literally while getting into the car, I was writing down my Goodreads review of the first book and didn't have time to film and properly talk or anything like that. When I came home, I did film updates, but because of my migraine, I watched the video back and it made zero sense, and I was talking at like snail's pace, and it was not great. So I'm gonna redo it now. So I gave it 4.5 stars. Around the 50% mark is when it started picking up a lot more. Listen, mad respect for Tolkien. I think what he's done is absolutely amazing and phenomenal. Literally father of like modern fantasy for a reason. It's not like him and C.S. Lewis had any books to look at of like an example on how fantasy books could be written or done. He's gotten a lot of inspiration through mythologies, so it's just very different because I read more fantasy that has been out since like past the time of at least 2015. If Lord of the Rings came out at this time, it'd be vastly different, or if it stayed the same as it is right now, I think it would be a much more divided community. Honestly, I think it's just really cool that he had fun with it, and he had fun with the world that he was creating. It's not just about characters that we're reading in specifically Lord of the Rings or in The Hobbit, but it's also people who exist, very mundane characters that we probably will only hear about in the other books that he's created to explain the world a little bit more detailed. That didn't necessarily stop me from getting pretty bored in the first half of the Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to the trilogies, the first one is my least favorite. So it's really not that big of a deal that the first book was kind of a struggle for me to get through. I kept picking up my phone the day before. I was just scrolling and struggling with my attention, and I am a little bit farther ahead in the Two Towers now. I read about 3 pages yesterday. Something I didn't notice when I first picked this up is that Fellowship of the Ring finishes on page 407. This one starts on page 413 and then ends on page 742. I'm not fully out of it like yesterday's thing or whatever, so I'm just gonna take it easy. I just want to be comfortable, be in bed, and we're gonna see how much I can get through this today. I kind of want to binge it, to be honest. Will I be able to? Probably not. I'm gonna try anyways. Absolutely. So I will talk to you when I have a reading update. So I am now at the second portion of the Two Towers, and I won't lie, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was the Fellowship of the Ring. Frodo and Sam have been separated by the group, so now the first portion was mainly focusing on like Legolas and Gimli and Merry and Pippin, and not so much on not anything actually on Frodo and Sam. But the second portion of the book goes into what's been going on with them. We're in different settings, we're meeting new characters, we're getting more into the storyline and stuff like that, and I think that's why I'm enjoying it a lot more than the first book. But also I'm not going to say any spoilers, but there was this one specific scene that just happened, and I'm actually shocked that it's happened like this in the book. I know that movie adaptations are not always going to be great copy-paste versions of the book. The director or whoever's working with the director, they're going to have their own ideas to how to portray a certain scene or characters and stuff like that. That's expected, but this very specific one, I was just genuinely shocked that this happened at all. I don't think we're going to touch up on that same subject, at least not until the next book. I'm excited to see how that plays out, what's going to happen, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue reading, and I will let you know when I have another update. It's now been a few days since I finished reading Lord of the Rings. The reason why it took me so long to make this outro video is because I was going through my footage and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be repeating anything that I haven't already said unless my opinion has changed on it. So basically, my opinion hasn't really changed much. So basically, almost half of The Return of the King was just the appendix. I also haven't gone through the other book or the appendix going into the lore of the series. And the thing is, I don't know if I want to. As for right now, I want to move on and read other series instead, so that's why I'm just not picking it up at the moment. I really don't hate the series whatsoever. I respect it. I respect what it's done for the fantasy community. It really just feels like a mythology book. The thing about mythology is that It is so alluring and so fun to read about because it has such a rich history surrounding it, and that's why I think of Lord of the Rings. The story itself of just the 3 books is so special because of the history, not just because of its own thing. It's not horrible. I still think that if you want to read it, you should totally go for it. It's just, it was difficult for me to emotionally connect with the characters through the pages. I had an easier time connecting to them through the movies, if that makes sense. That's all I really got to say. So I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope your next book is a 5-star read. And yeah, I will see you later.